Hi, I'm Kelly Hogan, and welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. Recently on the channel, many of you fell in love with Jody and Dean. Oh my word, the comment section of how much this man loves his wife. So many of you brought to tears. They were funny, they're endearing, and they just love each other and the Lord. I loved talking to those two. Well, in my conversations with them on the day I met them, during our video together, and even since then, they kept bringing up a name, Hal Cranmer. And I said, that sounds very familiar. I don't know how. I have missed a couple of really big interviews with Michaela Peterson, Dr. Anthony Chafee. Some of you may have already seen it. Feel free to tell me below what a loser I am for not seeing it until now, but I'm caught up and I'm very excited to welcome to the channel Hal Cranmer. Hey, thanks for joining us.
I'd just like to say for the record, I'm in love with Dean and Jody as well. They're just such an amazing couple. But thank you for having me on, Kelly. It's an honor and a privilege. I'm really humbled to be here.
Oh man, I'm so grateful. So when I was listening to you and trying to get an idea of how did he get into the assisted living business, because that was not your background.
Well, I wanted to make money, to be perfectly honest. I was previously living up in Minneapolis or just outside of Minneapolis and had a bunch of rental property and I was sort of flipping houses, getting caught up in that craze 15, 20 years ago.
Mm.
And I just networking with another investor. He was telling me about assisted living and the opportunities from a real estate perspective. When this guy told me about assisted living, he said, there's a guy who teaches classes and how to run them down in Phoenix. And so I was like, well, I should go take a class. So I went and took the class, and the guy had a realtor who had a bunch for sale. And so my wife and I kind of prayed on it and talked about it a lot. And so we kind of ditched the Minneapolis life and moved down to Arizona, bought a bunch of assisted living homes and said, we'll figure it out.
Well, I love the honesty there. I do. It's refreshing. I went to a lot of nursing homes and assisted living facilities growing up because my dad was the pastor and we would go
Oh,
visiting.
no.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would go sing and play piano and visit and it's
Yeah.
not a place typically people go to get better. And that's what you
No.
found, right? People were just going there to basically sit, eat, and then die.
Take
Oh,
medication and
yeah,
then die. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. All right. I heard you say when you got into this business, you decided, well, I don't just want to help people die. I'd like to help them maybe enjoy what's left of their lives, maybe even get better. Wouldn't that be amazing? And so you hired a nutritionist, but I think you said one of the first nutritionists you had on staff was not carnivore. Is that correct?
No, it's the total opposite. Yeah. So I actually started when I went to the trying to figure out how to make people better, or at least have a better quality of life. I first hired a personal trainer to exercise my residents because I'd always worked out. I played a lot of sports in high school. Going to the gym was pretty normal for me. But I was never a big diet guy. You know, I was an Air Force pilot. And as soon as you land, the beer starts flowing, right? And pizza everywhere, and never think. A lot of pilots joke coffee and a cigarette's their breakfast. I always was under the impression you can out exercise a bad diet, right? So I thought, let's get them exercising at first. And the guy I hired was this huge semi-pro football player, personal trainer guy, very good looking. All the ladies were like, "We'll exercise," and
Yeah.
and so, but he was a vegan, and he was like, we could take this to the next level. You should get some vegan, vegetarian nutritionists in here. And I'm like, oh, I should get some vegetarian nutritionists. Okay. So those were the first ones I hired. Yeah. And that didn't work out so well.
Did it not work out just because people didn't like the food or they weren't getting better?
It was a combination of all of the above plus extra things. They had me kind of running all over town to get specialized herbs and spices. And I'm like, I got to run these businesses. I got to market. I got to, take care of operations, hire handymen, all that kind of stuff. I can't just spend my time trying to find certain groceries and herbs and spices and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of put me off a little. I wasn't seeing results. The only results I was seeing really was weight loss, but I had some 98-pound, 98-year-old ladies
Yeah.
that were, they didn't have much to lose and they were losing weight. And then I had residents basically tell me if I have to eat another salad for breakfast, I'm moving. So all those combinations, we made it a couple months, and then I'm like, this isn't working. And the nutritionists, the cooks were really nice, but I'm like, I can't make this work. So I'm gonna have to find something else.
So how did the something else become keto carnivore?
Two things. One thing was keto, and one was carnivore. The keto one, I just start when I got grossed out by how we're just feeding these people and letting them sit in a chair or bed until they die. I just started reading, Googling, buying books, talking to, reaching out to people like you that are doing YouTube channels and things like that. Of how can I make my residents better? What can I feed them to do that primarily? And I came across a guy named Dr. Dale Bredesen, who was he's a neurologist, brilliant man, like graduated from Duke and I think med school and Caltech or something like that for his undergrad. And he spent the last 30 years studying Alzheimer's and what can we do to fix it. And he believed that there's not like one thing. Like a lot of people associate these amyloid plaques that form in your brain with Alzheimer's and these tau proteins tangle things. He said no, that he believed that was a result of your body trying to defend itself against other problems. And he identified about 36 different insults to your body or deficiencies that contribute to your Alzheimer's. And he believed that we're not going to have a pharmaceutical solution to Alzheimer's because he described it like a leaky roof. If you got 36 holes in your roof and you have a drug or a fix that fixes one of those holes, you're still getting water in your bedroom. So he said what you got to do is optimize all those 36 problems. And you could have 18 of them, or you could have 4 of them, or 26 of them, and you could still have Alzheimer's. So the idea is to optimize everything in your body and get it better. One of his big what he really advocated was a low carb ketogenic diet because a lot of people believe Alzheimer's is inflammation and insulin resistance in your brain. And, there are other reasons too, but that's a big contributing factor. And so because of that, glucose can't get in your brain and your brain doesn't get the energy it needs. And so we need an alternate fuel source for your brains, and that's where ketones come in. So you gotta, bring yourself into the state of ketosis where your brain then switches over from glucose to ketones and runs it. And that's sort of what my introduction to the ketogenic diet was. I continued listening to podcasts and I came across a guy named Dr. John Jaquish. He is a PhD in biomechanical engineering, and he came up with a system of bands and a barbell and a plate, and it's very simple. You can throw it in a backpack, you can take it with you on the road, everything like that. He had a book explaining how to use his thing. As funny, it's called Weightlifting is a Waste of Time and So is Cardio. And he shows all these studies and why. But he said, if you want the massive gains for lifting weights, you have to go on a carnivore diet. And I was like, a what? And he had all these studies of why a carnivore diet is so great. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try that. I'm thinking, no way my residents' families are going to be like, you want my mom to just eat meat? So especially when they've got cardiologists telling them they're all going to have heart attacks to do that. So I just started doing it. I felt like, oh my gosh, amazing. This is incredible. Like my lab markers are all getting better. Everything's doing wonderfully. And so I'm like, there really is something to this. We started off in the homes with a ketogenic diet, but I was kind of like, the goal is zero carb. I also at this time got on some of those podcasts. And huge thank you to Sean Baker. I just put a comment under his X post one time saying, hey, we're doing carnivore in our assisted living home. He's like, you got to come on my podcast. But when I went on his podcast, a lady named Maria Emmerich reached out to me, said she loved what I'm doing. She's like, I write all these cookbooks for carnivore and keto meals. I'm going to send you every one of them for free.
Oh. Okay, so you had decided, wow, I've looked at research, I've tried carnivore, I've read this book. Carnivore and keto would be a great thing to do. How do you go about, I mean, do you just start serving those foods? Do you need I guess this is a silly question, but do you need the family's permission to only feed them these foods? How does that work?
Yeah, so the Department of Health is really strict about what medications we can do, but they're all they want for menu is that it's posted, like that you can put whatever food on the table you want, but just let them know what they're getting.
Oh,
So I thought, okay, regulatory wise, I have a lot of freedom to feed them what I want. There are certain residents that come in that the doctor prescribes, a low sodium diet or a, low protein diet or something like that, a lot of which I disagree with. But if the doctors are like gods in assisted living, they could prescribe heroin to a resident. The Department of Health would be like, okay, just as long as it's on the prescription, we're good. Um, so I first had to find a doctor that would be open to this because I didn't want doctors saying, too much meat, they're all going to have heart attacks and strokes and all that kind of stuff. And then I talked to, I just tried it in one home to start out with and talked to the families of the residents, said, here's what I'm going to do. Um, I'm offering the option of a carnivore diet, which most of them said, no, I don't. I want my mom to have some vegetables and things like that. So that's why we kind of did the ketogenic. I told them we're going to try to, especially once Carrie, my health coach, came on board. She and Maria are incredibly good at making regular food like lasagna very ketogenic,
yeah.
by changing out zucchini noodles for regular noodle pasta kind of stuff. And so I told the residents' families, a lot of this food is going to look very similar. Okay. But what we're going to do is we're going to get them off sugar. That was probably one of the biggest things because, grandma loves her cakes and cookies. We can't do that. And Maria's recipes, again, have a lot of, you can make a cake, a ketogenic cake. You can make carnivore pancakes. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can make. So the residents' families were willing to try it. I hired some cooks to cook it, and they were trained by the nutritionist, and they were, I gave them all the cookbooks and everything like that, and they set them up with, ordering from grocery stores the food, and we just tried it. And actually, the residents, for the most part, were like, hey, the food's getting better around here. This tastes
Uh-huh.
really good. They really liked it. And so we started seeing amazing things like people getting off their diabetes medications, very obese people losing a ton of weight, and we're even seeing memory coming back with it. So we're doing other stuff besides ketogenic and carnivore diets, but it sure makes a big difference. I mean, I think that's the single biggest intervention we make for our residents.
Yeah, I really think the food is so foundational to other things. I've heard you list some of the other things, sauna and the hyperbaric chamber, getting them outside. I think that is huge. Just being outside.
Yeah,
You said you'll go on trips, you go to the zoo, just more activity. Are there
right.
any other non-food things that
You
y'all?
covered a lot of them. We have trainers that do all the exercise. We try to get them outside every day in the sun. In fact, during COVID, especially when COVID came through the homes, we had them out in the sun 45 minutes every day,
Oh,
including the summer. Uh,
yes.
and we've had them a lot of vitamin D. We still got them exercising a lot. We did the ketogenic diets, and we didn't lose a single resident to COVID.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's
And we had one home that didn't lose a single resident for 2 years during COVID for anything.
well, I'd say
And
for an assisted living, even on a great year, to not lose somebody in a year is incredible.
right,
But
right.
wow.
During COVID. Yeah, you know, COVID's over, so I can tell the truth now. We did sneak some families in to see the residents. We'd have them in the backyard and that kind of thing.
Yes.
But we we thought, these people are going to die of loneliness and depression before they die of COVID.
That
And so we were going to make sure that that doesn't happen. I had a 100-year-old lady that caught COVID and she had a cough for like 3 days and then was over it.
oh, I'm so happy that you got them outside and allowed them to
Yeah.
connect to people they
We,
love.
we had
That's
we had
cute.
a whole line of them in chairs. We still tried to social distance them, but they were just sitting in
Oh,
chairs in the backyard talking, and it
good
was
for
great.
you. Good for you. That's so cool.
The nice thing about the sunshine too, the nice thing is getting them outside early in the morning resets their circadian rhythm because a lot of people with dementia and Alzheimer's
Yeah.
have this condition called sundowners, where about 7 or 8 at night they just get completely agitated. And I feel for anyone who has to suffer through a parent living with them and caring for a parent because all of a sudden they're ready to party till 1 in the morning and you're not. You got to go to work the next day and stuff. So that's a big problem. Trying to get them to bed and caregivers changing shifts and things like that. So we get them out first thing in the morning, and it really helps reduce or even eliminate that sundowners condition.
Oh, I wish I had known that years ago. My mom and dad both, with their mothers, uh,
Oh,
both had the sundowners pretty, it was
uh,
awful. A lot of anger
yeah,
would come out and they would get so worried and wonder where their kids were. Well, it wasn't
yep.
kids, it's just their adult kids and
I don't know.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Alzheimer's and dementia, it runs, I would say, runs in my family. A lot of women in my family physically live to be very old and for years, the last years of their life, have no clue who anyone is and
yeah,
lose the
that's really
ability
sad.
to feed themselves, lose the ability to do anything. And one thing I've noticed with some of my family is that they do not want anything to eat but sugar. Mountain Dew and candy bars, just sugar, no meat, nothing savory. And I just wonder, how do you get past that? Is it really hard, or do people just eventually say, well, I guess if I have nothing else to eat, I'll just eat what I have because you have to?
Well, that's why I thought assisted living was such a great opportunity to do this because I control this, and I'm not their son or daughter that's
Yeah.
like, I'll give in to you, mom. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you old people are fantastic manipulators. And so when I first started this, I noticed that too. It was like I felt like I was running an addiction recovery service, not a assisted living home. They would, little packs of sugar for coffee, they'd rip those open when we took away the other stuff and just down that into their mouth. It was really bad. So we found that serving fat is a great substitute for sugar. It fills them up. There are some, you can see the withdrawal symptoms and everything a little. We've even had to put locks on our refrigerator doors sometimes because they come up at night to try to take some stuff. But if you give them a couple weeks of doing it, they feel so much better that they lose the burning desire to have sugar. They'll get off the wagon. I think Jody and Dean even said Christmas came along one year and they got off the wagon a little, but
Yeah.
that's going to happen. But in my home, if we just keep it out of there, it's sort of out of sight, out of mind, and it works. It works better that way. If someone's at their home, they can go out, they can order DoorDash. DoorDash is one of my most awful enemies because I do have people who don't have dementia and they get on their cell phone and here comes the McDonald's. So we have to tell them we don't allow that kind of stuff here. We're
Yeah.
trying to get you better and that's not helping. So I've even told people, you should go to another home. You don't want this program. You want to have what you want. I'm not going to judge you for it, but I'm not the place for you.
Right. Oh, I hadn't even considered DoorDash. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
challenge.
they'll just bring it to you. Well, I know with my grandmothers, you said I'm not their son or daughter. It is hard because you see somebody you love so much and they have no other source of joy in their life anymore. They're bedridden, and
Right,
all they want is that Mountain Dew. And it's like, well, I can't tell her no, but I
right.
love that. I mean, honestly, if we really love someone and we want them to feel better genuinely, I know it's hard to do. And my parents did not take this route. They just let them have what they wanted
Yeah. Yeah.
and then they were gone. And
Yeah.
it was a horrible thing to watch. But I
It
love
is.
that you have to have a little tough love to say, look, if you're interested in getting better, you're in the right place. If you're not,
Right.
and all you want is your junk, there are places that'll just give you every bit of it.
There are thousands of them.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what pretty much every other assisted living place does. So you're not gonna, don't come to my place, you
right.
know. You're just gonna be miserable here. So part is friends, no judgment kind of thing. But it's and people often think that Alzheimer's and dementia is genetic, like you're saying, you have
Yeah.
so many women in your family that are that way. There is a gene that increases your chance of having it if you got one copy, and it greatly increases your chances of having it if you have two copies of it, like both parents gave you one. But the good news is the two copies is very rare, and the single copy is still, it's a risk, but it's not fate. Like my grandmother died of Alzheimer's, and my mom is 86 and sharp as a tack, her daughter. And you know, I bug my mom all the time. I was having conversations about doing a sardine fast with her yesterday, but you can talk to her on the phone, and there's no hint of memory loss at all. So, and I've seen studies where they've looked at the population of memory care facilities, and only about 20 to 25% of the people in that memory care facility had that gene. So it's not like it's just ripe all the gene, you're done.
Yeah.
You can decide your own fate. People with didn't have the genes still had Alzheimer's, and there are plenty of people with those genes, with both copies of those genes, that live into old age with no problems at all. So don't ever think it's fate and just give up, because you can avoid. I mean, if you're living the no carb or low carb life, Kelly, your chance of getting Alzheimer's are extremely slim.
It is a big motivator for me to keep eating this way. In part
Yeah,
because in my 20s, I was having serious mental fog. I mean, I was having a lot of physical problems as well.
and I'm assuming you were eating not the low carb life then.
Oh, no, no. I was trying to go in my 20s, I was trying very low fat, lowering calories, rice cakes, and running, all the normal 1980s and 90s stuff. And
Right.
then I mean, I was just gaining and gaining more and more weight, and I got up to over 260 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, and I kept getting these boils that wouldn't go away. And my teeth, every time I
Yeah.
went to the dentist, more and more and more cavities. It was just like system failure. And my doctor,
Yeah.
I'm so blessed. He told me at age 25, it's the carbs. And he said, for 1 year,
Wow.
he said, 1 year, do not eat anything other than meat, eggs, a little dairy.
Wow.
And he said, if you want some leafy greens, you can have them. It won't kill you. So that's what I did.
Wow.
Yeah, it changed my life. That man, I've told him so
Is
many
this
times.
Ken Berry or
No, this is Dr. Benjamin Dunlap from Statesville, North Carolina. Just,
wow.
yeah, my
That's awesome.
family practitioner. This was
Wonderful.
2004. Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool.
it is.
Yeah, I tell people, you talk about motivation to avoid Alzheimer's. I tell people, go to a nursing home, go to a memory care unit, walk around there, you know, just like we take kids in school to the jail to
Yeah,
kind of scare them straight.
yeah.
Walk around a large memory care unit, and it'll seem like a house of horrors sometimes. It'll motivate you to start eating healthy
I bet. Yeah,
if you're not already.
my husband's mom has spent her entire career working in nursing homes.
Oh,
And
God bless her.
yes, yes. She actually just retired, but I mean, her whole career. And she has said, don't ever put me in one because
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
my parents are telling me that. And I'm like, well, you don't want to be in one, then start eating this way.
yeah, that's right. She has been gracious enough to say, obviously, if I need to be there, don't burden yourselves. But I mean, nobody's in a rush
Right.
to get there.
Oh, everyone who comes to my nursing home's like, I don't want to be here.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what kind of motivated me to like, well, let's give the customers what they want, right? They
To
have
go
to,
home
I don't want to just keep you here against your will, but I know you can't live on your own. Well, let's make it so you can live on your own.
to.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what people want. Everyone wants to die in their own home. They don't want to die in some nursing home surrounded by a bunch of people who are, out of their mind and have no idea what, where they are or who they are.
Do you ever get people who get to leave?
I've had 10 people move home. Like
10
they
people.
got well enough. Yeah, I had two that um, are like Jody that recovered their memory and are one's living by herself in her apartment in Seattle, and one is living in West Virginia and become good friends with Dean and Jody with his wife. And his wife like sends me pictures of him putting in a ceiling fan on their back porch or clearing their driveway of snow with their Bobcat, big construction equipment device. And it's just thrilling to see, they're out at football games and she's like, well, we're not eating any carbs. I mean, it's
Oh.
cool because when they move back home, they're like, oh my God, I love how I feel. And they become really sort of fanatical about, just like Jody and Dean, about how do we maintain this? This feels so great.
So you've gotten to see people in real time, like Jody, like Dean got to watch Jody come back from the darkness. You have
Hmm.
gotten to witness that happen. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's amazing. Like I remember the lady, I went over to her house and she said, "Hey, did you read my email yet?" And I'm like, "You remember that you sent me an email?" She's like, "Oh my God, I did remember I sent you an email." Or the guy, like we were at the hyperbaric chamber when he came to us. His wife flew him out from West Virginia. I met him for lunch, and then we went to the home. And he got out of the car. He's like, "What is this place? Why are we here? I don't recognize this." And the wife said, "I've been trying to tell you, honey, for like the last 3 months. This is where you're going to stay for a while."
Mhm.
And when he, first of all, when his last hyperbaric chamber ride, I drove him there and I was picking him up, and we were walking out. He goes, you know what? I forgot my wallet and a phone. And I'm like, you remember that, huh? And he goes, yeah. So not only did he remember it, but he walked back in and they had like a set of lockers, like little cubby hole lockers with doors on them. And he went right to the right one, opened it up and grabbed all his stuff. And I was like, and then I called his wife and told him that. And then I took him to the airport like the next week or something. And when we were driving, his wife called and I handed him the phone, and the wife said, "Do you know where you're going, honey?" And he goes, "Yep, I'm coming to the airport. I'm getting on an American Airlines flight, and I'm flying to Charlotte to see you, honey." And I thought, wow, that is so cool.
It is so
So,
cool.
yeah, it's just the greatest feeling to see these people get better. We have like a going away party for each of them when they get better and move out and everything, and with their families. And it's just, it's the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah. I heard you tell a story about a woman. Let's first start with the weight loss aspect, but I have a follow-up question on that. A woman that weighed about 1,000 pounds? Do you remember?
I didn't help her. There's a hospital here that takes care of very overweight people.
Uh-huh.
So they asked me to come in and see if I wanted to take any of them in my assisted living home. There's an insurance company um, that administers Medicaid in the state of Arizona, and I worked with them because they said they have a really hard time finding homes for people that are very overweight because it's so hard on the caregivers. So I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'll take them, but they got to promise me that they're going to try to lose weight. That this isn't like you go eat, continue eating all the junk you're eating, and our caregivers just have to deal with you. They got to have some incentive to lose it. So they said, fair enough, we'll sign a contract to pay you to do that. And so I went to this hospital and I saw a lady that weighed 1,000 pounds, and I just
Oh,
felt so sorry for her.
yeah.
There's no way I could put her in my assisted living home.
Yeah.
We took one at 550, but 1,000 was just going to be too much.
But they did try a keto diet with her, is that right?
The one at 550 did. I don't know what ever happened
Oh,
to the one
oh,
at a
okay.
thousand.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, there were some people with eight that were in the 800 range too, and I
yeah,
don't know what to tell them. But these hospitals they're not putting them on any kind of special diet.
yeah,
I went to the cafeteria and there were the vending machines with the same stuff, you could buy at a gas station, that
right.
kind of thing. And, the incentive is to keep them that way or even make them worse. Like I have a few Medicaid, I have one house that's contracted to take some Medicaid residents,
Yeah.
and um, they have three levels of care. One being they can walk around and they're doing all right. Two is kind of wheelchair, bed bound, and three is like they're bed bound and need total care, like they need help feeding themselves and or might have a feeding tube or something like that. Well, level three, you get paid a whole lot more than you get paid for level one. So if I make them better, I actually lose money. They lower my payment each month as
Oh,
for getting better. But if I make them sicker and they go to the next level, I get more money. So my conscience and my prayers to the Lord say don't do that. But if I wanted to make more money, it would be, yeah, let's feed them crap because let's get them worse. So
I did
so
not realize that. That's,
so when I negotiated the contract for taking the very obese people, I said, when they get much lighter, you keep paying me the same money. I'm fine getting cut off when they move out, but I don't want to. I don't want to do all this work, and I have to hire people to help me do it and everything. And then you just, lower my rate for being successful.
yeah, yeah, good for you.
The lady that was 550 pounds, she'd been in that hospital for 9 years. I took her to a home close to where she grew up, and she's like, everything's changed. Like, I used to drive around here all the time. That place wasn't here, that store wasn't here. This was a field when I went into the hospital.
In
So
9 years, they were
9 years.
responsible for her food. She is
Yeah.
contained under their care.
Yeah. She lost 50 pounds in 9 years. So I don't, the hospital did something, but yeah, that's it.
Did she ever carry through or try keto or carnivore?
Yeah, she lost 240 pounds with us in
Oh,
in a year. Yeah,
oh
11
my
months.
gosh.
Yeah, so I this was before I had Carrie, the nutritionist. I hired another guy who was actually out of the Facebook forum for that John Jaquish
Oh,
um, medical stuff.
yeah.
This guy was 290 pounds and he was like 6% body fat. And he helped people get in shape or build muscle or whatever you want to do. And I called him up and said, "Here's what I'm trying to do. What do you think?" His name's Daniel Magyar, just the sweetest, nicest guy in the world. But you look at him and you're like, "We get in a fight. I want you on my side."
Yeah.
Um, but he worked with her. He was total carnivore. He was, a big fan of John Jaquish too. He got that way with John Jakish's band system, not through weight training and everything. I mean, I think he does a little to supplement that, but primarily. So
Wow.
we bought her one of those band systems. She was working out a lot. The physical therapist from the hospital loved what we were doing, and he just voluntarily on his own time came over and worked with her, took her out like walking as she could walk, 15, 20 steps, and he'd walk behind her with the wheelchair and let her sit down right at, when she got too tired. Um, and yeah, we all had a big team effort to do this, and she lost the weight. She was having one meal days and two meal days and occasional 48-hour fasts, and then everything else was carnivore.
Oh,
And yeah, so she moved out to independent living. And I haven't stayed in touch with her real well, but she's doing great.
that's so cool. Oh, that's really
Yeah,
awesome. I heard you on Michaela Peterson and Dr. Chafee, and you've been on Dr. Baker, but all of that's been a year or two ago.
at least.
Yeah, so give me an update how things are going.
Those two that did the memory care and got better and moved back home were carnivores. And what the lady was at first, she's like, "Are you out of your mind?" I tried to explain the carnivore diet to her. Now I mean, she had a birthday right before she moved out, and we got her a nice big ribeye. She's like, "I don't want a cake, I want a ribeye." I'm like, "Do you remember when you moved in what you said?"
Yeah.
The ones I see the most improvement are the ones that do the carnivore diet.
Mm.
The other guy who moved out was with the memory issues was a carnivore. I have another lady that's lost about 220 pounds, or yeah, around 220. She's on a carnivore diet. She was actually a nurse for like 40 years and she'd never heard of any of this,
Mm.
which blew my mind. So I try to push the carnivore, but it seems like people really want to do the keto because they want their foods that they're used to. But I think the carnivore is the most effective one.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I really am.
Yeah. And as for changes that
Yeah.
we've got, one that's really exciting, there's a group of doctors, MDs in New York, that are very into what we're doing, keto, carnivore kind of stuff. They were awarded a grant by a wonderful foundation. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it yet. They want to do a press release or something, but they were awarded a grant to practice metabolic health in an assisted living setting. And they called me up and said, "Can we do it in your home?" And what we're going to do is we're going to take the first 15 people that come in because we can't use your success and claim it for ours. So we want new people that come in that we work with you and see how good we can make this with doctors. These guys are really into deprescribing medications, like what can we do to get them off medication, not add to it. And so they're going to take a whole bunch of labs. When we started, we've got the first couple people on the program. They're going to do MOCA tests, which are sort of the dementia Alzheimer's tests when they start. They're going to put continuous glucose monitors on them. We're going to have ketone meters, things like that. And they're going to basically provide free concierge medical care for these people for up to a year. And if they move out of our home, they're going to continue follow them and be their doctor,
Yeah.
for the rest of the time. And and then we're going to take labs periodically and track the progress and publish this as a, hey, this is sort of a pilot program we're trying in assisted living, and look at the outcomes we can get if you have everyone on board to use lifestyle and not just medication to help these residents.
That's exciting. And for
Pretty
anybody
exciting.
listening, I know it probably sounds like, oh, well, they've got cooks cooking Maria Emmerich's recipes. They're taking trips to the zoo and outside time and sauna and hyperbaric chamber. I bet this is only for the exclusive and the wealthy. Your places are more affordable. I've looked, I've compared.
Yeah,
That's
I
in,
know. I try to tell people that, like, you, what you're buying when you pay 10, $15,000 a month is a beautiful building,
mm,
right? The buildings are gorgeous. The food looks amazing. They have professional chefs making cakes and everything bad for you, but it looks fantastic. So they sell you on a lifestyle. They got, movie night and hairdressers and all that kind of stuff. But I've been in some of those that the residents tell me, "Get me out of here. I hate it here." They say, when you're well, you're thinking of a thousand things. When you're sick, you're thinking of one thing. How do I get better?
yes.
And that's what, it looks fantastic to the family to come in and see this gorgeous apartment that their mom or dad's going to stay in. But if their mom and dad are miserable and in pain and aching and laying in bed all day, what's the point of any of it, right?
Right.
I try to be very reasonable. I don't, I actually have a regular job in addition to all this because just to feed my family. So I want to get people better much more than I want to make a ton of money. I
So
know
you
that
got
sounds
into it for
weird,
the
but
money, not the passion, but you're
I
staying
did. But
in it
I'm
for,
like, yeah. And as I get older, you realize there's a whole lot more in life than money, and we're all going to be judged someday, right? And
yes, just helping pull other people into the boat is how it feels to me. Like somebody helped me. My doctor helped me and saved my life. So listen, for anybody watching, I am such a fan of how he has decided to help people feel better. If any of you feel hopeless, if you feel like I'm year after year feel worse and worse and worse, but I don't know how to change it, he's telling you the things that he's doing to help people who are probably past where you are now. We're talking people over 500 pounds, people who couldn't remember why they're at a location, let alone who brought them there. It's not hopeless. By changing our food, getting some sunshine, circadian work to work on better sleep, vitamin D,
Red
sauna,
light therapy.
red light therapy, hyperbaric chamber, all of it is so good and it's not hopeless. It takes maybe stepping out of the box from what you've been told, trying something new, maybe surrounding yourself with people who are on a similar path. Community really matters. I'm sure you would agree
Yeah.
with that.
And can I say something about that community thing?
Yes.
So a lot of people come to my homes when they've had Alzheimer's or dementia for 10, 15 years. They're well down the path. Their families have been trying to take care of them and, keep them in their homes as long as possible. It's really difficult to change those people. The ones I change are the ones who recently diagnosed or had it for 2 or 3 years. So my nutrition, Carrie, and my health coach and I kind of came up with this idea of having an online community. You want to stay in your home? Great. Come into our community and let's talk about all the things you can do at your home, how you can cook at home, prepare easy meals, you know, exercises you can do, or if you're caregiving for a mom or dad, have them do this stuff. Try to keep them out of my homes for the rest of your life. And so we came up with, we call it Thrive at Your Home. It's thriveatyourhome.com, but let's get everyone together and help each other out so that, I'd love to make my assisted living homes, turn them into Airbnbs. But as long as the demand's there, I'm going to keep doing this. So that's a possibility too. So if you're struggling or newly diagnosed and you don't instantly want to go into assisted living, come look at our community because I'd love to help you just turn it around and have some more success stories.
Oh, that's great. Yep. I do an online community for people not who are trying to avoid assisted living, but I just see the power of coming together via Zoom or whatever platform and
Hmm.
connecting eyeball to eyeball like we are right now and just talking and
Right.
getting ideas and some accountability and motivating each other. It's big.
Well, there's so many supplements and so many. I mean, you go on this social media, it's like, hey, try this for Alzheimer's, and this works. And I've gone through a lot of that, and most of them don't work.
Yeah.
I don't see what. So the community be like, hey, I tried it, it didn't do anything. Everyone doesn't have to go through 60 different supplements to see if any of them work or other treatments or therapies. We can get real-time feedback from people that we potentially, if they're in the community paying a little money for it,
Yeah.
probably can trust these people to tell you the straight scoop of what their experience is.
We just had a big supplement talk in my groups this week and went through the same thing in the chat box. All right, if you've tried this one and it was helpful or not, and for almost, I mean, the vast majority of supplements, it was like, tried it, noticed nothing. Tried it, noticed
Yeah.
nothing. But then you
Yeah.
ask about, okay, well, talk to me about what did move the needle for you. And it's all of the things that you have said. I don't personally have a lot of people that I know who have tried the hyperbaric chamber, but the
Yeah.
morning sunlight, the carnivore diet, drinking water, going to bed, like,
Exercising.
oh, such a fan
Just
of
simple thing.
walks. Simple.
Walking backwards is a huge benefit for the brain because your
Oh,
brain doesn't know how to do it. It's got to figure it out.
that's cool.
Just simple things like that. Yeah.
Man, I could talk to you for another hour or two, but unfortunately,
This
it
has been
is
so much
5
fun.
minutes until I have to pick up my daughter from school.
I
So
understand.
I will link to anything and everything that you're willing to send me. I am so
I
grateful
will.
for you. If there's a way we can support,
Same here.
send it to me.
Okay.
Let me know what we can do because so many people watching this are going to want to support what you are doing. I'm grateful that
Thank you.
you're doing the work and that you came here to talk about it. Thank you, Hal.
Yeah. God bless you, Kelly. Thank you for spreading the message of this.
Thank you. All right. Bye, Hal.
Bye.
Hal, I typically close out in prayer. Is that okay with you?
Oh, yeah. Dean warned me about that, and I'm like, I love it.
All right. Heavenly Father, God, I am so grateful that you have given us the beautiful natural things that we need in order to feel better. You've given us the sunlight and the meat and one another, and you have encouraged us to come to you in prayer. So that's what we're doing. Lord, I come to you now and ask you, please, to continue blessing the efforts that Hal and his staff are doing. I pray that you would give the healing and the benefits that we cannot give ourselves or anyone else, but you are the great healer. So we pray for those results to come abundantly, and we are so grateful for all the good things that are already happening. I pray that you will bless Hal and every single person working with these residents, and that you would bless the residents as well. And we ask it all in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
thank
talk to you
you, Kelly.
soon.
That's wonderful.
All right.
Take care.
Two.
Bye.
Bye.